This news update is brought to you by
Grab somebody and tell them hello. Pure happiness will be connect to flow. Smile and cheer because that is we flow. Grab somebody and tell them hello. With your hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air. This is how we flow, yeah. Grab somebody and tell them this is how we flow. Pure happiness will be connect to flow.
It's Tuesday, November the 17th, 2015, and this is your Barbados Today Morning News Update. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. In our top story this morning, the speedy lifting of the interim injunction in the Banks Holdings Limited buyout case has raised serious questions of equality of justice in a similar matter now before the High Court. Lawyers of former Clico boss Leroy Paris and his company Brandley Consulting Services say they are gravely concerned that their clients are being subjected to tremendous prejudices by the court. Hal Gollop QC, who represents Paris, and Vernon Smith QC Brandley Consulting, contend that they have been waiting for close to a year now to get a ruling on their application to remove an injunction brought by the judicial manager for Clico International Life Insurance that froze the bank account of Paris to the tune of $4.5 million. Now, last week, Chief Justice Sir Marston Gibson lifted a similar injunction after only 3 days of legal arguments by lawyers representing BHL, Trinidadian conglomerate Ansel McCall, and Brazilian beverage giant Ambev, which are in a hostile bidding war for total ownership of BHL. Ansel McCall had applied for and was granted the interim injunction by Sir Marston, which effectively brought an end to the sale of all Banks Holding shares on the Barbados Stock Exchange and other trading. By having the injunction in place, Ansel was seeking to buy time to fight an earlier agreement between Ambev's St. Lucia registered subsidiary SLU Beverages, which the Trinidadian conglomerate has described as oppressive and not in the interest of the shareholders.
We are 7 months down the road, and we cannot tell when a decision from the court will be given. So when along comes this decision, this matter, the Banks Holdings Limited matter answer, and the court settles the matter with the kind of urgency that it has demonstrated, it must cause concern on our part and the part of our client whether he has been accorded the protection of the law and equality of treatment under the law.
Gollop told Barbados Today they may now have to take further legal action to try to speed up a ruling.
I filed a constitutional motion after we could not get the matter heard. And then the matter was heard. Now, maybe the only thing one can do again is file another constitutional motion. So you see what is happening. We have court process after court process being taken up in this matter.
European cable and wireless operator Liberty Global has bought over British telecommunications company Cable and Wireless Communications for $8.2 billion, including debt. The move follows an announcement last month that the companies were in discussions about a potential takeover that would expand Liberty Global's presence across Barbados and the rest of the Caribbean and Latin America. Under the terms of the deal, Liberty Global said it had offered $1.32 for each C&W share, including a one-time 4.5% dividend that would be paid once the transaction closed. LG's Chief Executive Officer Michael T. Fry said today that the acquisition of C&W would add significant scale and management depth to their fast-growing operations in Latin America and the Caribbean. LG's media chairman, John Malone, who already has a 13% voting stake in C&W and partly owns Columbus International that was recently bought over by C&W for $1.9 billion, has been talking about future consolidation among the big and small media players.
So you could argue that there's going to be some combinations, because if you believe scale is important, and in the content world, whether it's computer software or television content, scale is very important. You make it once, you distribute it enormously. And stability comes from scale and so on. So it wouldn't surprise me to see consolidation in that space.
In response, Chief Executive Officer of C&W, Phil Bentley, says it's going to be business as usual despite the takeover. Bentley says the operations of C&W, which trades as Flow in Barbados, will not be adversely impacted. He told Barbados Today that the deal would mean an expansion of the operations, improvements in quality and content, and no name change. In related news, Canadian-headquartered energy company Emera Inc. has made an offer to buy the outstanding shares of Emera Caribbean Inc. to increase its stake from 80.67% to 100%. ECI is the holding company of the Barbados Light and Power Company Limited, majority shareholder in the Dominica Electricity Services Limited, DOMLEC, and an investor in St. Lucia Electricity Services Limited, LucyLEC. In a release yesterday, officials of Emera gave the assurance that the offer does not change how Emera's operating companies in the Caribbean will be managed, and there will be no change to the management teams at the Barbados Light and Power Company or Dominica Electricity Services Limited.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter. That's the move for me. Stability, prosperity. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
Welcome back with news from the region. The Guyana Police Force is sending a strong message to criminals as it unveils its Christmas policing strategy. More in this Capital News report.
The Guyana Police Force rolled out an expansive Christmas security program with the aim of reducing crime and traffic lawlessness. The plan entails police patrols from the Chelijagan International Airport around the banks and busy shopping areas. In addition to that, there would be more mobile foot patrols and roadblocks at strategic locations across the city.
We will increase as normal foot patrol, vehicle patrols in and around Georgetown. We will look at the Georgetown prisons, night spots, places of business, commercial banks, and post offices. We will continue on social crime prevention, which is very, very important, meaning the development of youths, and by doing so, we are building capacity with the parents and other elders within the community, hence our intelligence capacity building.
But even as the force spoke about its plans to ensure the safety of citizens, Crime Chief Wendell Blanham brushed aside claims in some quarters that the crime situation is spiraling out of control.
On the international scene now, ISIS has threatened a new round of terror attacks on the West following last Friday's deadly assaults on the French capital, Paris, in which about 129 people were killed. The group is now pledging to make Washington, D.C. its next target.
Well, it is very much redolent of their usual language, goading on their enemies, but very specifically referencing the attacks in Paris here, and also saying that they wish to make a similar assault on Washington, the U.S. capital.
We say to the countries that participate in the Crusader campaign, I swear to God, a similar day that France went through, you will go through. I swear to God, as we struck France in its stronghold, Paris, we will strike America in its stronghold, Washington, with God's will.
Now, they have consistently made similar threats, and this carries all the logos, the hallmarks of usual ISIS propaganda. But it's the timing, Anderson, of this renewed threat that's so important. Clearly, in the hours since the attacks, they have worked hard to get these people on camera, to put this together, to make it quite clear that they are unbowed, that they are actually caught and want this fight.
Meanwhile, the U.S.-led coalition has destroyed 116 fuel trucks operated by so-called Islamic State in eastern Syria in one day. A Pentagon spokesperson said the trucks were hit in a single airstrike near the IS-held town of Abu Kamal. The coalition has targeted fuel trucks before, but a coalition official said this was the most they had hit at once. Black market trade in oil is one of IS' most important sources of funding. It is believed to make about $500 million a year from the oil industry in territory under its control. And on that note, we end our Barbados Today morning news update. However, you can join us again this afternoon. Until then, remember to log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper email updates, or like us on Facebook. You can also catch us on Izumi Media in bus terminals or Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Also tune into Channel 101 on Flow TV and Mix 96.9 FM to get all the latest news and sports. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.